What is up everyone, welcome to Tech Savvy Buyer. So I finally convinced you that a Vita is something you need to get because there's pretty much a lot of stuff you can do with it, and it's a very awesome handheld when it comes to emulation and its own catalog of different types of games. With that being said, you're kind of on the fence on deciding which one should you get. And this is another question I get from you guys a lot, and actually was a very special request from one of you guys out there that wanted to get a video seen on which Vita that you should be purchasing. So with that, in today's video, I'm gonna help you pretty much figure out which Vita is right for you. However, before we begin, let's get a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by GVGMall.com. GVG Mall carries a wide variety of game currencies and gift cards that you could use to take your gaming to the next level. If you're looking for a fresh copy of Windows or Microsoft Office, then you can certainly find those on GVGMall.com as well. They are priced very competitively and offer legit copies of Microsoft software. You can pick up a copy of Windows 10 Pro for under 15 bucks. Visit GVGMall.com for more information and use code TSB to save during checkout. Welcome back folks. So today I figured the best way to approach this topic is to cover each specific model with a lot of detail. So we'll kick it off with the OLED model specifically. So the OLED model was the launch model. This is the very first PS Vita that Sony came out with. And you guys can see that it's got a very, very glossy screen. This is the one that had the original OLED screen, so you've got nice vivid colors and overall very nice looking display. The thickness of it is definitely a lot thicker than the new model that came out. Again, it's still very comfortable to hold in your hand. It still feels very ergonomical. They used a more gloss plastic type finish on the front as well as for the touchpad on the back. And all the different finishings around the bezel around it has been used with more metal slash, brushed aluminum looking plastic and some aluminum parts here and there. Some of the big noticeable things or features, let's say, that the OLED model pretty much lacked was that it did not have an internal built-in internal memory storage option, meaning this didn't come in with any internal storage onboard at all. You don't even get a few megabits at your disposal to use for any kind of modification. So when it comes to modifying a Vita, if you're going to use an OLED Vita, you have to have a memory stick, which was inherently very expensive and one of the dumbest things that Sony ever did for their systems. Having to use that memory card, if you don't have one, it's an expensive thing to purchase, and honestly, it's just kind of a nuisance to have if you're going to be using an ST to Vita anyways. That's why you'll end up seeing a lot of them on eBay and other items, are the places for sale basically. The other thing that this has that I don't really like a lot is the fact that it uses a proprietary charging port. That's right, so another step in the wrong direction with the PS Vita that they continued from the PSP era. And actually PSP, the original ones, used a normal USB cable. It was a regular USB, the original old fat ones that were used in a lot of other devices, which was a very common cable. In fact, it was the same cable that you used to charge your DualShock 3 controllers for your PS3. So going to a proprietary cable just complicates things when you want to use different types of accessories with it, or in case if you lose it, you're stuck with just having to purchase the very common one, or a very uncommon one, shall I say, that's designed just for the PS Vita. But with all that kind of stuff aside, the main thing to really love about this is its design and the fact that it has an OLED screen. For me personally, I love the OLED screen so much that when it comes for me deciding which one I want to stick with personally, I go with the OLED one. The screen resolution is the same on both devices. So I know in the past I may have said something about screen resolution. What I really meant to say was they just look sharper on this because of the OLED display. So even though the resolution is identical, you'll notice a very clear difference between the two systems just by looking at it that way. So that's pretty much the reasons why you would want to pick up an OLED Vita. As far as price is concerned, they both are the same. The other thing to keep in mind is that the OLED ones have been out of production for several years at this point, and since the slim one came out in 2014, the last several years, all you'd be able to find a brand new Vita would be a slim version. You're not going to find brand new OLED models. Granted, there's not a whole lot of brand new ones since production stopped last year anyways. The chances of getting a brand new OLED one is slim to none, and you'd have to pay exorbitant amount of money to do that. So with that in mind, it will be pretty hard to find a nice clean OLED Vita like the one that I have here. However, if you look hard enough, you'll be able to find it for about $100 to $150 depending on what you get with it. So moving on to the slim one. So slim one brought some really welcome additions that I like about it. There's only one major drawback to the slim, which I've already kind of covered, that I don't like. And we'll start with the one that I don't actually like. It's the screen that they changed. So they went from an OLED display to an LCD display, and it's very noticeable when the systems are side by side. If you don't have the system side by side, it's really not that much of a game changer, and it doesn't really, ruin the experience by any means. So chances are that if you don't have another Vita, or you're only planning on getting one Vita, you'll be fine picking this one up, and it shouldn't be a major feature for you to look at or look past the screen resolution or being the different technology of the screen used here. So LCD versus OLED. The cool things that came with this model is, one, they slimmed down the shape. So you're getting all the same technology in a slimmer profile. In addition to that, they went to using a more standard type of charging cable. So now you can use a micro USB cable, which is common with almost every Android phone that was out during the time that this Vita was released. It just made it a lot more simpler. So if you do happen to lose the charger for this by any means, you can use any other charger that you have that's a micro USB. Makes it a lot easier to plug into your computer, a lot easier to plug into a charger, and just less cables and fuss that you have to carry around when you're traveling with this device. The other good thing that they did with this Vita is now they included 1 GB of internal storage. So off the bat, if you're playing games, you can actually store game saves on here and be able to save your progress. That's something you couldn't do on this one without having a memory stick inside it. So another cool thing you'll be able to do with this is that you're able to modify it without having to get a memory stick. So again, as I mentioned before, the memory sticks are kind of cumbersome, they're expensive, and there's really no point of them if you're going to modify the Vita and use an SC Vita with them anyways. So with that being said, this just eliminates the added expense of having to pick up a memory stick, which, like I mentioned, can be really expensive, even if you want to get ones that are as small as 4 GB. Other than that, aside from the change in aesthetics that you guys can obviously see, those are pretty much the primary differences between the OLED model and the slim model. Not a whole lot of change if you ask me, but small changes that made it meaningful enough that you can call it a nice refresh. The fact that this is slimmer, includes built-in memory, supports the same platform of games, supports the same memory stick, has all the same features that you would look for in this, still makes this a very compelling purchase. And you can also pick some up that may potentially be brand new. I happened to pick this up brand new last year. It was in great condition, excellent, completely brand new obviously, and I haven't had any complaints with it since I actually bought this. Trying to go on a hunt and getting a brand new OLED one, or one that's very, very slightly used, if you're one of those people that care about getting devices in great condition with less scratches and all that kind of stuff, you'll be better off getting a slim one, which is in much nicer condition as compared to the OLED models. So that's pretty much the main differences, guys. When it comes down to which one I would pick, I think I've already stated the OLED one is the one I'd go with, just because I'm kind of a snob with the screen. But other than that, if it comes down to just the features, the slim one is just as adequate. You guys would be, either way, you'll be fine picking up any one of them. Follow any one of my tutorials on how to modify them, you're gonna have the best experience with either one of these. It really doesn't matter which one you decide to go with. But in terms of aesthetics, the clear winner to me is the OLED one. In terms of usability and features and nice to haves, the Slim has more of those things in it. So yes, they did add some good things in the Slim by taking away the nice screen. They put an LCD screen in, which is kind of a bummer, but you did get a nicer or easier or more accessible, let's call it, charging port, and built-in storage with it. So that is pretty much the main difference between the OLED model and the slim model. So I hope this helps you guys when it comes to figuring out which one you want to pick up. Shouldn't be that much of a tough decision to figure it out. Go with whichever one you can find for a good price, and then again, follow my tutorials on trying to get it modded so you can take the best use out of that Vita. Again, guys, I'm on my way to making 100,000 subscribers. Go ahead and subscribe if you like this content. If you guys are new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you guys like this content, smash that like button as well. Hopefully this was helpful in getting you guys to figure out which Vita is right for you. And as always, thank you very much for staying into the end of this video. And as always, stay safe, stay smiling, and I will see you guys on my next one. Peace out.